Social media shows us a version of self-love that always looks beautiful to look at. It often skips the hard and glamorous parts, like setting boundaries that might upset people, going to therapy, breaking toxic habits, or doing the uncomfortable things that actually help you grow. It makes self-love look easy, aesthetic, and instantly rewarding. But in reality, it's often messy, slow, and deeply personal. So in this video, I'm sharing the self-love principles you don't want to hear, but probably need to. They have changed my life for the better, and if you let them, they can change yours too. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Veronika, and here we talk about intentional living, personal growth, and creating the life that actually feels good. If you want to receive weekly news and updates from me, make sure to sign up for my free weekly newsletter, Veronika's Weekly Vibes. I send out my emails once a week, I don't spam, and I only share the things that I find genuinely useful. So the link to sign up is going to be in the description. Okay, so let's start and talk about the first self-love principle that you don't want to hear, but probably should. Self-love can be uncomfortable. It's not all warm fuzzies, it's not about feeling happy all the time and always having positive vibes around you. It's not a perpetual spa day. Sometimes it's hard work and honestly a lot of discomfort, because self-love and personal growth requires facing inconvenient truths about yourself and often stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I saw this amazing phrase: it's an uncomfortable process that never ties up with a pretty bow. When you take care of yourself in a meaningful way, sometimes, yes, it means that you do things that don't feel enjoyable in the moment, like enforcing a bedtime every single day to get enough rest because sleep is your priority. Even though you might want to scroll on TikTok for hours and hours on end, you love yourself and you tell yourself, no, right now maybe all I want to do is be on social media doom scrolling, but I know that sleep is my priority, so I'm gonna say no to myself. It means saying no to people who you know are taking advantage of you. I know it firsthand because I worked on my people-pleasing habits my whole life, and I'm still working on them. It's a never-ending process, and sometimes it feels easier to just say yes because I don't want to make anyone feel upset, but I know that in those moments I'm actually betraying myself. So yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable to extend that self-love towards myself in those difficult moments. Self-love isn't about coddling yourself 24/7. It can involve tough love towards yourself in certain situations when it means that those things will actually benefit you long term. Because you know, it's so easy to think that I don't want to do anything, I don't want to work on myself, but I want to get all the results that I want to get. And sometimes those things don't feel fun, like right now in the moment, but they are actually the deepest forms of self-love because they prioritize your future self. They prioritize your well-being and your health. Growth is often uncomfortable, and that discomfort is a sign that you're investing in yourself, that you're working on yourself, that you're doing something new, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. So I really don't want you to equate loving yourself with always feeling cozy, with always feeling happy. You need to feel all of your emotions. You need to do the hard things sometimes because you know you're worth the effort. Think about staying in a relationship that you know isn't good for you, and unfortunately we have all experienced that. You know, the person is half in, half out, and they don't treat you the way you deserve. But leaving that relationship feels terrifying, it feels uncomfortable, it feels scary. It often feels easier to stay because you think, well, at least I'm not alone. But real self-love is choosing the uncomfortable in that situation. It's choosing to walk away, and yes, it is going to feel extremely hard. It's probably going to mean sitting with loneliness for a while because you know you're worth more than just crumbs of attention. And that doesn't feel cozy, like it hurts, but that is exactly what I mean by self-love is often uncomfortable. You know deep down you're worthy of love, you're worthy of more, and so you're choosing yourself. If you know you can give yourself all of this love, you know you deserve to find a person who treats you the same. Okay, the second self-love principle that you don't want to hear but probably should is you're responsible for your own happiness. No one is coming to save you. I'm just gonna put it out there. Yes, it's natural to crave love and validation from other people, but it doesn't mean that you're looking for someone who can come in and fix your self-esteem and fix your self-love. If you're constantly waiting for someone else to make you whole, most likely you will be just disappointed. Because honestly, no one, not your friends, not your family, not your partner, can fill that void inside of you if you don't truly value yourself. Let's say you feel insecure in yourself and how you look, and yes, your partner's compliments, they might reassure you for some time. Obviously, hearing those words is nice, but genuine confidence has to come from the inside. Okay, the compliments will come, but if deep inside you don't actually believe those words because you don't say those words to yourself, compliments, they will feel nice for like an hour or two, but then the negative self-talk will surface, and this whole cycle of looking for love, for compliments, for validation will continue because you're not giving all of this to yourself. I know it might feel so much easier to blame others, for example, or to hope that someone else will finally complete you. But real growth starts when you accept that it's up to you, first of all, to take care of yourself. It doesn't mean that you isolate yourself. It doesn't mean that you say, okay, now I don't need anybody. I can do everything by myself. Absolutely not. Healthy support is absolutely crucial. Like, we need that connection with other people. But self-love is about recognizing that you are the one who holds the key to your self-esteem. When I was a kid, I did rhythmic gymnastics, and I'm originally from Russia, and in Russia this sport is very famous, and also the level is extremely high. Like, the environment is very high achiever oriented, and because of that, it's also extremely toxic and extremely unhealthy. And I did gymnastics pretty much my whole childhood, from the age of 4 to the age of 14. So for 10 formative years of my life. Because of that whole experience, I developed a lot of body issues. That void could never be filled because I wasn't filling it myself. And other people, their compliments, they helped for like a second or two, but then I just felt like I was back criticizing myself and trying to nitpick myself. And so the only thing that actually helped me in that situation was going to therapy and working through all of those things by reading books, by talking to a professional, by learning more about true self-love. And now when people compliment me, I actually believe those words. They feel like an extension of myself because I know that they are true. Like, people are not lying to me. They're not just saying it. It is true because I say those words to myself too. I'm the one who is also working on pouring more self-love into the cup of love that I have inside. Alright, now let's talk about self-love principle number 3 that you don't want to hear but probably should. Self-love is not instant gratification. The internet loves to tell us, treat yourself, you deserve it. And yes, enjoying life's pleasures is absolutely important. But we really have to be careful here because self-love doesn't mean indulging every single whim we have. It doesn't mean masking pain with unhealthy habits over and over again. To be honest, this kind of behavior that I often see on social media, like impulse purchasing, for example, you see someone share a new makeup product that they really love, and without even thinking about it, you buy it just because you want it, just because you want to treat yourself, and then you end up with a lot of clutter in your house, and even worse, you often end up spending money that you don't even have. And so constantly giving in to short-term pleasures at the expense of your long-term health or your long-term goals might be a form of self-sabotage. So what I'm trying to say here is using the phrase "I deserve this" as an excuse to actually harm your body or blow off important responsibilities is not self-love at all. It's self-defeat. I didn't grow up with good money education. I think most of us didn't. And yes, that's life, and it's often unfair unfair. Self-love doesn't mean that we're always trying to surround ourselves with like perfect circumstances, perfect situations. Sometimes there are things we just can't control. But what we can control is learning from those situations, from those mistakes. In college, I used to be the person who would spend all of their money. Like I would get my paycheck and I would spend absolutely everything because I thought I deserved it, instead of actually thinking smart and thinking about my security, my financial security. Now, what I consider self-love is building an emergency fund, not buying another thing I don't need. Building my emergency fund was actually the best thing that I have ever done for myself as a woman, like for my nervous system regulation to feel safe. You guys also know that at some point I moved abroad from my home country, and that whole process was extremely hard on me. Like I was feeling a lot of different emotions, but I still was making myself stick to a budget because I knew that was true self-care. And yes, sometimes it meant doing something uncomfortable. Like before I moved abroad, I lived by myself, but the first few months when I actually moved abroad, I had to live with a roommate. It was not my ideal situation because I loved living by myself, but I knew that I had to stick to a very strict budget. The problem is, on social media, the version of self-love that we often see is marketable. It's aesthetic. It's meant to look good. And this kind of messaging teaches us that self-worth is tied to having the right products. But delaying gratification is often the best thing you can do for yourself. And those choices can be tough. Yes, I know, but they show that you care for future you. I just really want you to think of self-love in this broader way. It's doing what's ultimately good for you, not just what feels good right now, not always giving yourself immediate comfort at any cost. And of course, enjoying treats sometimes and relaxing guilt-free is important, but I don't want you to confuse self-love with using the excuse "I deserve this" all the time to get those instant gratification things that you want to get in the moment without thinking about your future. Okay, and the final self-love principle that you don't want to hear but probably should is you have to accept yourself. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop growing. Self-acceptance is the foundation of self-love. You're worthy as you are, you're worthy just because. But it doesn't mean that you have to ignore your mistakes and never ever work on yourself. It's like saying, "I'm perfect as I am," when deep down you know that you have some toxic habits that you need to work on. Those things hurt other people, they hurt you. And just saying, "I'm perfect as I am," honestly sounds to me like I'm not truly being honest with myself. I'm worthy, yes, I'm worthy of love, but if I know that I have things that I need to work on, I'm going to work on those things with love and compassion. Real self-love is all about finding that balance between accepting who you are and also striving, changing things that you know need to be changed. It means that you accept your intrinsic worth and things that you don't need to change, things that cannot be changed. And because you care about yourself deeply, because you love yourself deeply, you work on the things that you know you need to change. And it's not about chasing perfection. It's not about trying to create this perfect version of yourself, a perfect human being. That is probably your ego talking. It is not about basing your worth on constant improvement. It's about recognizing that you deserve to work on the things that you want to work on. Let's say you're a person who gets stressed very easily, and because of that, you lash out at your partner, your roommate, or your coworker. And that is not something to just shrug off and say, "This is just who I am." Yes, you should accept that you're someone who gets stressed easily, and that is okay. You shouldn't shame yourself for it. But you should try to figure out why this happens to you. Real self-love is saying, "I know, I get overwhelmed a lot, and I accept myself in that. But I also care about myself deeply, and I care about all the people in my life, and I don't want to hurt them. So that is why I'm going to work on healthier coping strategies." Alright, I think it's going to be it for today's video. If you you liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out my Notion products and also my free weekly newsletter. All of the links are going to be down in the description. I really hope that all of these principles will help you cultivate a deep and lasting respect for yourself. Self-love isn't about feeling great all the time. It's about supporting yourself through thick and thin, like you would a dear friend. If you're someone who wants to go deeper in your self-love journey when it comes to your finances, I highly recommend watching this video right here. Here I talk about a book that changed how I measure wealth forever, and I highly recommend this book to everyone. So if you want to learn more, just click right here and I'll see you there.